Good day, everyone. I am going to share again another video. It is actually a deeper way of explaining to you guys the functionality, the behaviors of three loop statements: for loop, while, and do while. Okay, and I'm going to explain it deep by way of giving a single example and try to do some programming using the three loop statement. Okay, and I am hoping that at the end of this video I will be able to share something that will give you more ideas as to how these three loop statements behave during the course of programming. Okay, and I hope you're not affected with the typhoon Kinta. Okay, so we're trying to now create a video in the midst of typhoon Kinta. Okay, so I am going to share my notepad in which will be creating programs in here. This is the problem. Okay, design a program to ask for a value, and we are directed to use n as our variable. Okay, and our program will then calculate the sum of the input given. I'm sorry for the spelling. The input given number of n. So whatever is the value of n, that will be used to our loop statements, and whatever the values of n from the start up to the last, it will be added up and display whatever is the sum or the total value. Okay, and we are advised to use three loop statements. Okay, again, our program will ask for a value and that will be stored to n. Okay, and this n will be used as our limit for our loop statement, right? And then whatever is the value of n from the starting point up to the last one, that will be calculated and eventually stored into sum as our variable, and then display it on the screen. Okay, and we are suggested to use three loop statements. Okay, so normally and ideally we have to start with include statement, right? I hope you're following my screen. And then like this is use one. I am so inclined to in main. Okay, and we are suggested to use n, right? And for us to store or to preserve the value of the series of n's that will be added up, we'll store it to a particular variable and we'll call it sum. Okay, so that's based on the problem, and then we'll start for loop, right? So for n is no, not n, but I'm sorry, we are in need of another variable for the loop, right? So we can see here for I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to our n, because we are supposed to total the values of n until it exits from the loop, right? And then increase the value of I every time it loops. Okay, so we are suggested to display the value of n. Okay, so printf um, n is equal to then the placeholder, right? And whatever is the value of, not n but I, right? I. Okay, because our n is actually the limit of the loop, and whatever the values within that loop, that will be added up. And then we are going to preserve the value of the loop and store it to sum, right? So sum is equal to sum plus whatever is the value of I. Right? I'm going to explain it line by line. And I think this is it. And after all this, after the loop, once the condition is false, it will exit from the loop, and then we are going to display total is then percentage, and that is actually the value of sum. And since I am using int main, so I need to return 0, right? So I think this is correct. Right? We'll try to explain this line by line. Why did I use three variables? I is intended for my loop statement, and is actually we are supposed to ask for a value. In this particular program, n is still vacant, right? Void. So we have to, I'm sorry, we have to enter a value, okay? And then scanf, right? %d ampersand n. Then we are going to use any and n. So I did use three variables. I is for the loop statement, n is for actually a variable that will store value from the keyboard or from the user, and sum will actually restore or preserve the value of the series of I, right, until the loop will exit, right? So if you can see in here, I did have printf and scanf to get for the value of n. Now assuming when we run the program, the user inputted, for example, 5. So in this particular line, n has a value of 5, assuming. And here comes a for loop statement. It tend to initialize the value of I by 1, right? And then followed by a condition, whether your I is less than or equal to your n, which is actually 5, right? So of course, the condition is true, because at this particular line, our I is 1, which is lesser than 5. So if the condition is true, what's next? It will execute the loop body, and the loop body says print whatever is the value of I. So print whatever is I. So our I is 1, right? And then after such display, we have here a formula. Sum is equal to sum plus 1. Okay, please follow my screen. So at this time, our sum is how much? 0 yet, right? Plus the value of I, which is 1. So meaning our sum now has a value of 1. Okay? And it goes back because the condition is true. When it goes back, I now becomes how much? 2, because of I plus plus, right? Because of I plus plus. And then followed by a condition, is your I less than or equal to n? Our I is 2, right? Less than or equal to n, which is 5. So still the condition is true. Now since the condition is true, perform this loop body. The loop body says display the value of I. So our I is how much? Our I is 2. And then followed by a formula. The formula says sum is equal to sum plus 1. At this time, sum is how much? Our sum is 1 because of this first formula, right? Our sum is 1 plus the value of I, which is pila. Our I at this time is how much? Our I is 2, right? So 2. So meaning at this time, the value of sum is 3. And then because of this curly bracket, it goes back to the loop statement. And when it goes back to the loop statement, our I increases to how much? Our I increases to 3 because of I plus plus, right? And then followed by a condition. Is your I, which is how much? 3 less than or equal to n, which is 5. So the condition is still true. Now since the condition is true, what's next? Perform the loop body. The loop body says display whatever is the value of I. The value of I is 3, right? And then sum is equal to sum plus I. So at this time, our sum is how much? Our sum is 3, right? Here. Plus the value of I. How much is our I? Our I is 3 also, right? So plus 3, that's how much? 6. Okay? And then it goes back again. When it goes back, our I becomes how much? Our I is our I is 4, right? And then condition is 4 less than or equal to 5. True, right? So since true, perform printf I. So I display the value of I. And then compute again for the sum. So sum is equal to sum plus I. Our sum is how much? 6 plus I, which is 4, that is 10. And it goes back. So it goes back, our I increases to 5, right? Because of I plus plus. And then followed by a condition. Is 5 less than or equal to the value of n, which is 5. At this time, the condition is still true. Now since the condition is true, perform the loop body. Okay? So the loop body says print the value of I. So print I is equal to 5. Are you following? And then followed by sum is equal to sum plus I. So in here, our sum is how much? 10, right? Plus the value of I, which is 5. That is 15. It goes back again. When it goes back, our I becomes how much? Our I becomes 6. Now, condition is 6 less than or equal to 5. The condition now is false, right? Because 6, of course, greater than 5. Now, according to the behavior, the attitude of for loop statement, if the condition is false, do not perform anymore the loop body and exit. So when it exit from the curly bracket, here's another statement, printf. Display what? Display total is whatever is the value of sum. How much is our sum? Our sum is 15. So total is 15. And that's the end of our program because of this return 0. So this is the screen output actually. I is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if you are going to total all these numbers, 1 plus 2, 3 plus 3, that's 6 plus 4, that's 10 plus 5, that's 15. Okay? This is actually the demand of the problem, right? So I hope I was able to explain the behavior of for loop statement, right? And what particular formula that we were able to preserve the total value of I. It goes back and back with the loop because of this sum is equal to sum plus whatever is the value of I. All right. So we'll try to encode this program. Here we'll try to copy and paste na lang just to minimize the data, and we'll try to paste it here. Okay, I will just to delete some of the lines in here because actually these are actually our simulations, just to show you the behavior of for loop statement. Okay, we did simulate the program manually. So this is actually the program that I discussed a while ago in my online notepad, right? So here it's in my online, it's on my online compiler. I have three variables, I, n, and sum. I is for the loop, n is for the scanf, and sum is for the preservation of the total number of I. Okay, and then printf and scanf is to get the value of n. Then here comes the for loop, right? So this loop body will be performed depending on whatever is the value of our n, right? Our n. So on our example, we were assuming that the user inputted 5 to n. And so this is the result, right? Now, here, we'll try to execute this program, okay? And let's see if it will run, right? Here. So our program now is asking for a value. We'll try to follow the example. We'll encode 5, and this 5 will goes to n, right? And it displays the result. I'm sorry. We need to put some backslash in here. Okay? Backslash n, and then in here, we all know the function of backslash n. It's for the next vacant line. We'll try to run it again. Okay? Same value 5, and it displays what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and total is 15. So meaning our simulation is correct. Okay? So if you want to be good in programming, try to learn the behavior, the attitude of a particular statement. And you must know how to simulate your program manually. So that at the end of the day, when you tend to do some programming, more or less you have an idea as to what is the screen output of your program, right? So in here, say for example, we'll try to type 3. So the total is 6 because 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, this is also a nice technique. We'll try to input 8, right? 8. So you have here 1, 2, 3 up to 8, and then total is 36, which is correct. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 is equal to 36, right? So I hope I was able to explain this one, right? And also the program using for loop. Now, the program demanded us to use the 3 loop statements. So from here, we'll try to convert this one into while, and we'll try to convert this one into do loop. Okay? Again, that's another challenge. Technically, behavior-wise, they're the same. They're all loop statements. And every time it loops, they will all check the condition if it is true or false. Once the condition is false, it will exit from the loop. Right? So that's the technicalities of the loop statement: for loop, while, and do while. So we'll just make use of our program in here. Here in our online compiler, we'll still use the same variables and the same printf and scanf, and then we'll try to change this one. Okay, we'll make use of while, right? So while what is this? While I is less than or equal to n, and prior to this one, we'll try to initialize I by 1, right? And then in here, we have to increase the value of I, because there are, like I said, no, there are 3 major parts in a loop. Initialization, this one, I is equal to I plus I is equal to 1. The next one is condition, this one is I greater than or equal to less than or equal to n. Then the third one is what? Updation, or we call it incrementation or decrementation. This is it, I plus plus, right? In for loop statement, it is being compressed in one line. for I is equal to 1, that's initialization. Semicolon, I is less than or equal to n, that's condition. Semicolon, I plus plus, that's updation, right? So same with the while. Since we converted for loop into while statement or while loop, we need to initialize in here, right? And make use of while, and then update the value of I. Okay, we'll try running this program. So again, it asks for a value. We'll input 5, and it displays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the total. So the same. So meaning we were able to convert for loop into while. Okay. So take note, when you are going to use while loop statement, while loop statement, please do not be tempted to put semicolon in here. Okay? You are not allowed. That's not part of the syntax. When you click run button, oh my god, your program will still run. No? But yeah, there's a problem in here, right? So that's it. So you have to eliminate or avoid putting semicolon. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll try to click stop. Here we do need to have semicolon. So when we run program, okay, when we supply 8, and it will display the same as with our for loop statement. Okay, so I hope I was able to discuss the behavior of while loop statement, and I was able to compare while loop and for loop. This time we are going to convert that into a do while loop statement. So how? These three loop statements need three major parts: initialization, condition, and updation. So when we are going to convert this into do while, so a do loop, so we need to initialize, right? And then in here, we'll try to replace this by do. Same, right? We have to update the value of I, and then right after curly brackets, we have to add condition. Is I less than or equal to n, and put semicolon. Okay? So do not be confused with while and do while, right? Under do loop statement, you have to put semicolon, but in while loop, no need to put semicolon, right? So that's it. We'll try clicking run button, and it runs, right? We'll supply 5. 5 will goes to n, right? And n is actually the limit of our loop, and it displays the same, right? So if we are going to erase this one, semicolon, okay? Are you following? And we'll try to click run command. Let's see what's going on. Right? There's an error, right? So we have to have a semicolon. So when we click run button, right, and supply 8, 8 goes to n, and 8 is actually the limit of our loop, and it computes for the total value. Okay, so I hope I was able to discuss all. We'll try to give another example. Say for example 100, and when we click enter K, it displays all the values, right? And it computes for the total, right? So that's it. I hope I was able to differentiate the technicalities of and behavior of for loop, while, and do while, right? So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you can use these techniques in your programming journey. Okay, like I said, the best way to learn programming is to start learning C programming language, right? Thank you so much for now. God bless you. God bless us. Stay safe with Kinta. God is good. Thank you so much.